right, let's take a look at question number 4. It says, a castle has to be guarded 24 hours a day. 5 knights are ordered to split each day's guard duty equally. How long will each knight spend on guard duty in one day? So we've got our total number of hours. We know what we're splitting up in between. And our first question asks us to answer this using hours. Well, this isn't equally divisible by 5. We're going to have a remainder. We can't leave the remainder, though, because then that would be hours that the castle's not guarded. Don't leave the castle unguarded. So we're going to have to express this either using a decimal or we're going to have to express it using a fraction, because that's what we can do with a remainder when we can't just ignore it. Now, I'm not going to solve this one, but I'll show you an example of one. So I've got this one. My castle only needs to be guarded for 20 hours a day. For 4 hours a day in my kingdom, no one robs it. So it's safe. And I am a really wealthy queen, so I have 7 knights. So if I take a look at this, 20 is the number of hours my castle needs to be guarded, and I am dividing that or splitting that up between the 7 knights under my command. So I know for sure that each knight is going to have to work for 2 hours, and then I'm going to have 6 hours left over. So I'm going to have to split up those 6 hours between the 7 knights. So I can express this in hours as 2 and 6/7 hour that each knight will have to do. Now, I could go ahead and add some decimals, and I'm just going to haven't actually solved this one out, guys, so you're going to do this with me live. So I'd have a decimal up here, and I'd say, okay, that's 8 groups. And that'd be 56. I'd subtract, I get 4, and I bring down another 0, and then that would be a 5, and I'd have 35. It's looking to me like this decimal is going to go on for a while, so I don't think I'm going to keep going with this. Yeah, because I'm already in the thousands and it's going to keep going. So I'm going to go with the mixed number over here. Okay, so we're going to stay with 2 and 6/7 hours. Well, what does that mean then if I have to express it in hours and minutes? Well, I have 2 hours. That's not going to change. Okay, but what is 6/7 of an hour? So if I take that hour, that's 60 minutes, and I'd have to split it up into 7 pieces. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I would have to figure out how many minutes goes in each box and then add up 6 of those minutes. Now, my fraction is not as easy to figure out as the fraction you're going to get when you guard your castle for 24 hours a day. But you would be able to figure out, okay, I figured out what goes in each of these boxes. I figured out how many boxes it needs. And that number then is going to be your minutes. Obviously, your minutes should be less than 60, because if you had 60 minutes, that would be a whole hour. Okay, well, then the third part asks you to just turn it into minutes. So you're going to take however many minutes you have for that second part, and then each hour is 60 minutes. So in my case, 2 times 60 would be 120, plus however many minutes would go there, and then I would have that answer. Okay, so know that when you go back to your 24 hours and you divide it by 5, you're going to come up with a much friendlier fraction than I did. Good luck with solving that. A case in point, though, if you did choose to solve this one using decimals, there were a lot of people who just took the decimal number that was in the tenths, I'll just let you know that, and they just made this the minutes. I want you to think about the point that a decimal of 0.5 is half. Half an hour is 30 minutes. So if your decimal is more than 5, the number of minutes in addition to the hours the knights worked should be more than 30 minutes. If your number is less than 5, the number of minutes in addition to the whole number of hours the knights work should be less than 30 minutes. There was a lot of not really thinking about the reasonableness of that answer, just kind of moving numbers around and not really thinking of it. Make sure you don't fall into that trap. Good luck.